All right, almost there. Do. Are we here? Yeah, we are on. Sweet. Okay. All right, let me do this. All right, everybody's here this morning, Mr. Speed and the boys, and we've got a couple others coming around the corner. All right, so in the background, you may hear a little bit of rustling or whatever here in a little bit. They have a crew out today doing some uh, park cleanup, and they do this once or twice a year, so it's not a big deal. The good news for today is I don't normally sometimes they come out here with the chainsaws and stuff, and I didn't see any of those today, even though I do see a big electric truck. But
That's the springtime. Yeah.
oh, that's the springtime cleaning. Okay, yeah. So if you see some folks wandering around in the back, that we have a little general cleanup. Couple things. Let's see, holidays coming up. So, Seafood was always good about reminding us during the holidays about, he called it the milestone, the mental milestones or something like that. And this time of year, Thanksgiving, Christmas, the holidays, Chinese New Year, whatever it might be, New Year's, Valentine's Day, whatever it is, we have a stretch here of a lot of different points of life. And one of the things that will happen is, he would say things like, you start to remember, during different holidays, you have to be aware of your emotional uh, status and phases because you'll start to think about, oh, well, it's this is my second Christmas without mom, right? Or I thought I'd be here by now, or I thought I would be with this folks. I've gone through a divorce or a separation or a death. There's something that's happened, or my health is, you know, so much worse this year or better than it was a year ago. Whatever it is, there's so many little markers, and each one's different, right? So, this is the time of year that you spend more time doing the internal cleaning, making sure that you don't accumulate too much crap, okay? Because you can quickly do it during this time of year. Um, what I had wanted to do today was to do what I call pragmatic posting, right? It's just kind of a phrase I came up with. And everything that we'll do today will be researchable for you about its biological, psychological, or social benefits. Okay, so you can go through any number of research studies. I'm not going to go through all those, but I can tell you that I already have. First, before there was ever any research studies on Zham that I'm aware of, I was your first lab bunny or lab rat, right? Because I had all the equipment as a cardiopulmonary physiologist and things like that. I had, now this is going back to the late 80s, early 90s sort of thing, but a pulse oximeter back in the day was the size of a brick, right? Today you can buy one at Refco that looks about the size of a quarter, right? I had an EKG machine that had a roll out like a toolbox, right? You can get out there now and get one pretty much on your watch, right? I mean, it's crazy how much, but I would sit there because I couldn't understand posting. I couldn't understand how I could go out and it'd be 28 degrees and I'm sweating, but I could walk. Or the other one that y'all bought, I could go walk back off for 15, 20 minutes, be fine. Stop 10 minutes in my post and I'm sweating like a pig. I'm going, I don't understand. How can I get so much biological uptick, but I'm not moving? And I would wire myself up. Literally, y'all would be laughing because I would be standing inside of a closet.
I was in awe. I wish everybody could see it because you got to the point where you could manipulate
Oh yeah,
the feedback.
yeah,
Look,
yeah,
I'll put it at 97. Look, I'll put it at 80.
yeah. Right. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, yeah. But I would monitor heart rate, pulse oximetry, EKGs, you name it, I was measuring it. And then I would get down to the nitty-gritty mood ring, right? So you could and thermal temperature. So I could sit there and meditate and watch my thermal. my thermal temperature rise and change what I was thinking about and watch it drop. Right. So I've done all that. Now, all these research colleges and universities, they do all the work for me. Right. And so the point is that I've studied it, I've studied the studies on it. So we're going to go through a few things. So I want to give you instructions now so that in case you haven't been with me during this before, you'll have a good idea. Don't try to memorize what I'm going to tell you. What I'm doing is priming your mind. Okay. But we're going to go through a system of 7 steps. First, we'll do silk breathing, 5 count in, 5 count out. Then we're going to do deep breathing with a hold, right? Which will be kind of just a good deep breath, slow exhale, hold on the exhale after 9 reps, and then hold on the inhale for 9 reps. Okay. Then we will do um, uh, progressive muscular relaxation, PMR. Whenever I ask you to squeeze something, we'll hold for anywhere from about 7 to 15 seconds, depending upon you. It's not on me, depending upon you. And then when you let it go, let it go. Don't drop it like a hot rock. Let it go gently, and then spend about 15 seconds letting your mind just kind of hover in that relaxation of that area. Okay. Then we'll do a PFL, a pelvic floor lift. Then we will do a mind sound resonance training. For the most part, it'll be like for most of y'all who've trained with me over the years, it'll be like a mantra, right? But inside. Okay. I'll show you, give you an example. Just try this before we start. Just, you can say amen. You can make a sound of a letter. It doesn't matter. I just generally hum, right? But what I want you to do is hum in your throat. And as you're humming in your throat, hum the same thing with your mind. So your mind can make the sound. Try that now. Okay, there you go. How do you know you can do that? Because I could ask you during a meditation to imagine a lion's roar, and your mind can make that sound for you. How do you know? Because if you heard it, you'd wet your pants. Holy crap! Right. So we'll go through the pelvic floor mind sound resonance. Then we'll do a what we know of as called a mind sing. In most meditational psychological research, they just call it imagery training, but y'all know it as a mind scene. And then we will do an emotional phase training. 7 steps. Each one of them, you can go back and research the effects on diabetes, for example. There's plenty of research demonstrating that a single bout of 20 minutes of standing meditation can reduce blood glucose levels during that session. Standing rather than sitting. I get asked this all the time. Any training is better than no training. Standing, though, is directly correlated and causes uh, mobility changes. Right, your ability to be mobile is directly related to your ability to stand. Uh, Functional endurance training is directly associated with your ability to stand. Right. You want to stay independent, you want to live long and strong, you better be able to stand. And so if you can stand with a little bit of, change in how you do it, it makes a direct difference. Doesn't Mr. Gallagher?
Yes, sir.
That's right. So we want to make sure that we practice standing if we can. If not, then we'll sit. Okay. So let's get started. I'm gonna turn to the side a little bit. First, we're just gonna get ourselves ready. Breathe in, exhale. 2 more times. Go ahead. Put a little flex in your knees. I want you to be aware first and foremost of your balance. How's it distributed across your 2 feet, front and back, as well as side to side? Remember that if you're ever posting outside, you want to practice on a piece of ground that is somewhat flat, but if it's not flat, make sure that it's not flat from the heels to the toes instead of being not flat from one foot to the other. So you don't want to have one side tipped up because you're on the side of a hill running this way. Instead, turn yourself down the side of the hill so that the heel is running from the heels to the balls of your feet. Okay? That's important to remember because one of the things, again, you can study the research on it on standing posting or standing meditation, is how they write about it in research studies, is that it affects directly the ability for the spine to release tension on either side. It also directly affects the abilities for the hip to open. There you go. Good job, Scotty. Right. So adjust yourself accordingly. Now, what we do is we go into what is called we call it an active rest. This is our resting posture where the hands are rounded, carrying what I call the two balls, right? So in the first ball, you have the roundness of my arms as if I'm holding a big fitness ball. And then my hands are shaped as if I'm holding a football. Already sweating it out there, Ryan? No, but I know I'm going to. Yeah. Okay. So a little silk breathing to start with. 5 count in, 5 count out. No stress with it. I don't want you holding your breath at any point in time. I just want a gentle flow of breath. Think of a sea kind of, coming in and coming out. And what we're going to do today is I'm going to take each one and we're going to do each one of these for 2 minutes in length. Very good. Now we're going to go into the deep breath with a hold. I'll guide you through the first round and then you can adjust it as you want to. So, what I'll do is we're going to take 5 deep breaths, breathe in, count to 3, exhale gently, count to 5, Repeat that 4 more times. In, out, in, out. 2 more. Breathe in, out. At the end of this exhale, hold the exhale. When you feel it start to clench, don't cause yourself undue stress. It's not a test. Then breathe in and hold that inhale. Maybe it's 5 seconds, maybe it's 10. And then when you exhale, repeat that same cycle. 3 in, 5 out, and on the 5th one, hold. Return to a natural breath. And let's go into our progressive muscular and fascial relaxation exercise. We're going to start from the bottom up. So I'd like for you to squeeze your toes and your feet into the earth as if you're a hawk grabbing a branch. And now, very gently, let it go. Let your mind soak into that area. And now, your calves and your feet. If your feet want to contract with your calves, fine. If they don't want to, that's fine too. Just focus mostly on your lower legs from your knees down. Squeeze. And then let it go. And then hover your mind into that release. Here you can do your thighs and you can go ahead and include your glutes if you want to or not. It's up to you. Usually when I do it, I'll clench my thighs as well as my calves. Now let it go. You can get as refined with the muscle groups that you want to work in order, or you can keep it kind of bulky like we're going to do today. From here, I want you to use just focus on the entire upper torso, from the belly button up to your shoulders, and squeeze. And let it go. And just for time's sake today, we'll go from the shoulders to the fingertips. Do not close your hands into fists. Keep them open, almost as imagine if you were squeezing a tennis ball or something. But I'd like for you from your shoulders down to your fingertips, squeeze. Then progressively let that tension out. And we'll do one more just as a toss in. I'd like for you to squeeze your upper back and neck as if you're pinching, pulling your shoulders up towards your ears and squeezing your shoulder blades together. This is where a lot of folks carry psychological and emotional tension. And now exhale and just let it drop. Woo! Yeah, baby. Very good. Scan through your body just to make sure your balance is still good. And now our pelvic floor work, lifting from the anus as if we're holding back defecation all the way up to where if you're holding back urination, the whole stripe through there, through the lower groin, lift it and squeeze it. And then let it gently go. Repeat that for the remainder of the time till I let you know. You can usually hold anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds, whatever's good for you, then let it go. And again, take about 10 seconds in between each repetition. Hmm. One of the things as you refined your mind in the pelvic floor training is as you lift and squeeze, try to keep the rest of your body somewhat uh, free of unnecessary tension. So really amazingly more challenging. One more time. Very good. Ah. As many of you know, we have a Santa Claus bag full of imagery training that we can do. Today, what I'd like for you to do is have a happy place imagery. I'd like for you to put yourself in a place that helps you feel comfortable, safe, and I want you to imagine all the details. How does it feel to be there? How does it smell to be there? What does the sunshine feel like? Every detail that your senses can question, I want you to fill it out in your happy place. Could be imaginary or real. Let's bring yourself back here aware of your surroundings, the smell of the sunshine, the sound of the breeze. And now for a little emotional phase or status work, I'd like for you to imagine gratitude as a light. And I'd like for you to fill yourself with that light so much so that the shadows of doubt, the shadows of regret, the shadows of questions are all eliminated by the light. You're that full of what it would be like. Very good. I like for you to take in a breath. And as you exhale, bring your fingertips together. Check your balance. As you exhale, open the palms out into the world. Stand out with pride in yourself. Good. All right. Just as a you know, a summary. Uh, First is that I timed those. I put set my stuff for like a 2-minute watch. When I used to do exercises like this, I used to use one of those little uh, d- uh, I think the boys may have seen them. The little sand, there's little sand things, right? Yeah. And and in fact, I ordered a whole box of them one time that were like 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute, and things like that, right? So I would decide how much I was going to do. Each one of those today we did was just a little over 2 minutes. But since there were seven exercises, that was at a minimum of 14, 15 minutes, which didn't include some of the prelude. Okay. So you can bump that up to 3 minutes and be at 21, 25 minutes in no time, right? But seven different exercises that started with the silk breathing, then the deep breath with the hold. Was that okay for everybody? I set it at a 5 count. A lot of times I like to do nine. I'll do nine and then hold, but you'll go through 2 minutes like that when you do. So that's why I set it at five. Then we did the progressive muscular relaxation. Was everybody okay with that? Was there any? What was the hardest part for some of you on the PMR?
So with the pelvic,
Uh huh.
relaxing it slowly was the hardest of all of them.
Yeah. Okay. The
On
relaxing of the pelvic floor.
maybe on the fourth or the fifth one, it started to slow down,
Uh huh.
but
In the beginning, it's like hot potato. Yeah. Then we did the happy place imagery work. All right. I've had some lovely stories. One of the ladies in Pinehurst the other day, we did this exercise, and we were kind of sharing because for me, the happy place the other day, it was different today than it was the other day. But the other day, I was sitting on a, it was like I was standing on a cold stone up in the mountains, like when we used to go to Cherokee, and I could hear the stream running by and feel the sunshine on my face, and the beautiful sound of occasionally when a fish pops the water, right? When he's just trying to grab a little insect, that just that little pop. I remember that sound so detailed, right? Um, and but one of the ladies shared that her happy place was totally, she was like laying like you would on a beach lounge chair, but her lounge chair was a cloud, and she was laying on the cloud, just floating around. I'm like, "Oh my god, that sounds so good." I just float along. Then we did the happy imagery, and like I said, many of y'all have been taught, I can't even guess, 20, 30 different mind scenes that you can work on. And then we did the emotional state, which today I just picked gratitude. You could pick courage, confidence, happiness. There's a lot of different healthy emotional states. Gratitude is probably the one that gets the least exercise, right? Because we kind of wired to always kind of look at what we don't have, or what's missing, right? But the reason that that exercise was so important for me was because one of the hardest things when we grew up, I grew up very, very poor. Okay. We didn't have anything hardly. And uh, down in Rayford, which is still the poorest county in North Carolina. And so there was always limitations to what I could eat, to how much I could eat. Like, you couldn't have two bologna sandwiches because bologna was a meat. So you could have one tomato sandwich, one bologna sandwich. Point being, there was always limitations. And so one day when Sifu was saying, I want you to imagine what you could do if there were no limitations, and I couldn't do it. I could not do it. Every time I thought, I said, well, I can't do that. I don't have the resources. Oh, my car can't go that far. Or I don't have the money for the gas. There was always limitations in my thoughts. And so when we're working on things, the magic of filling yourself up with so much gratitude that there is no doubt, there is no question. You're just filled with gratitude. I had to learn that one so then I could even start to imagine what it would be like to take 2 minutes and imagine what you could do with your life or do with your day if there were no limits. If you had no limitations, what could you possibly do? It just changed my life. Right? So anyway, that's everything on what I call pragmatic posting. Everything I mentioned to you today, all 7 of those exercises, you can go back and look at the research individually, how they affect different things from Parkinson's disease to diabetes to functional training to, and I will mention this because I do this 5 to 7 days a week, and I can promise you, the one thing that standing posting gives you is options. Because the thing that I witness at least 4 or 5 times a week is when a cancer patient is in a position to where they could be treated because of the disease, but they can't be treated because of their functional status. The disease is treatable, but they cannot be treated because they're in such poor shape. Yeah, and you're shaking your head, you're thinking about it, but it starts with simple functional status training. They'll measure it by your ability to breathe. They'll measure it by your ADLs, your ability to stand. Can you get out of a chair? Right? And I get a little animated about because this is all choice stuff. You can choose to maintain a functional status with a hip problem, knee problem, whatever it is. I did it. I still do it. You know, so never put yourself in a position that you don't have an option because you didn't take care of yourself. Okay. Love you. And we're done for today.